Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all shapes and sizes, welcome back to Italian Football TV. It's your homeboys here in Genoa, Italy. Michael Cantaris, Adamo Taco, bring you guys the latest news in the Serie A. Mike, what's going on?
There's a lot of stuff going on. We all know that the Champions League draw was just announced for the semifinals. Juve got drawn against Monaco. A little controversial there. A lot of people saying, you know, it's the best draw, but they are the underdogs here. Juve, they gotta be careful here. And we all know Pavel Nedved, he said a few things about his Juventus. It's hard to say which was the best team to face because the competition has shown that you can never make a mistake. I hope and believe we will be ready to meet this challenge with the maximum of our potential. I think the Czech said it pretty much spot on. We all know Juve are the favorites of this one. That's why Monaco have nothing to lose over here. That's why it can be very dangerous for Juventus.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, in the Champions League, there's no joke. Monaco have obviously made it here because they deserve to be here. One of the highest scoring teams in the competition. Juve, one of the lowest conceding teams in the competition. Going to be a huge battle against two great forces. But I guess we're going to have to wait and see what happens.
That's right. Let's move on to the next bit of news for Juventus. Max Allegri, he's been doing pretty good with Juventus, don't you say?
Not too shabby.
It looks like he's going to win the league, the Scudetto, Coppa Italia. He's in the final over there in the Champions League. He's in the final 4 teams left, so not bad. It looks like his contract renewal, it looks like it's going to happen. According to Corriere dello Sport, Nedved had this to say about Allegri. Max has done well in the last round. His work was important and we are happy with him. I mean, that says it all. It looks like he's going to get a contract extension and he's definitely not going to go to Arsenal. Are you sure?
I mean, you know, there has been a lot of talks because Arsene Wenger has renewed his contract with Arsenal, so that has really dulled down the rumors. Obviously, at Milan, Max Allegri, a lot of people had some bad thoughts about him. You know, got fired from the team and didn't really have the greatest performances, but he did show flashes like he showed with Milan against Barcelona. With a terrible team, he was able to beat them, and now he's showing at Juventus that he's proving people wrong, that he's an actual world-class coach, that he's taken his Juventus side to anything that it hasn't experienced before, and you know, possibly a treble this season. So that is an incredible achievement from Max Allegri with a consistent Juventus side in the league and in the Champions League. Now, Florenzi said an amazing quote about Francesco Totti, the captain of Rome, saying Roma without Totti does not exist. When he retires, it's going to be a national mourning. Obviously, Totti, a legend of Rome. Everybody loves him.
Football, yeah.
I mean, just overall, this guy is one of the greats of the sport. Mike, what do you think about that?
It's amazing. It's not something we didn't know, but it's even better coming from, you know, his teammate from Roma, and of course, he's just a national icon. Once you hear Roma, I don't think of the city, I think of Francesco Totti.
Of course. Now, speaking of Roma, obviously Monkey has been heavily linked from Sevilla to become Roma's sporting director, and there has been lots of links, and he has said that he's most likely going to be going, and I quote, "Will I go to Roma? It's not done yet, but it's the closest option. If all will go down the right path and there won't be surprises, I'll go to Rome, but I don't consider anything to be done until I sign."
I hope this actually happens. We all know how great of a sporting director he is, and Roma are so close to it. I hope it doesn't slip out of their hands.
And if they can't pull us off, this will be huge for them, especially with the season winding down and the transfer window opening. They're definitely going to need his assistance.
According to Sport Media set, it looks like Insigne is going to sign a contract worth 4.5 million plus bonuses. I can't see him going out to another club. What do you think?
I mean, he has been a Napolitan legend. A hefty chunk of money, I think he's going to take it, and I think he's going to, you know, mend whatever problem there has been in the past, because for 2 seasons straight, he's been an incredible player.
Yes, I completely agree. Let's move on to a little Belotti action over here. We all know Bonucci's son, even though his father, Leonardo Bonucci, is a Juve fan. You know, he plays for Juventus, obviously, but his son is a Torino fan. He's a Gallo fan also. And you know what? A lot of people might get mad at this, but he actually lets his son, he actually put a nice little post on Instagram about this, that he's happy about it. And Belotti came out and said, "I admire Bonucci so much for not just accepting his son being a fan, but posting it on social media despite being a Juventus player. It goes beyond than just football." And I think that's amazing right now. Football should be whoever you like, and you shouldn't be, team shouldn't be forced upon you, even if your dad does play for the team's rival, right?
I mean, just because your dad's scoring tons of goals, making tons of plays from the back, one of the best center backs in the league, doesn't mean you got to support the team. And I think that's a big sign of Bonucci and the type of father that he is, because he lets his son express himself.
Another bit of news on Belotti right now. He was doing a bunch of diving headers into like an empty net. It was like a talk show thing. It was pretty. It's a funny Italian show. He does a diving header, then he falls on a mattress trying to hit it through. And there was also some chocolate eggs that he was hitting instead of soccer balls.
I think that's amazing because it's kind of like what we do at IFTV, trying to humanize the players, you know, showing the funny side, showing, you know, stuff that they do that, you know, a lot of us would love to see, and it's very entertaining.
Exactly.
Now we all know Paulo Sousa has been on the hot seat, but he still has faith that his Fiorentina side can make Europe, saying that we have to believe for Europa League. Now the team is in 8th place and they will be playing Inter, Napoli, and Lazio. 3 amazing teams. Mike, what do you think about that?
It's going to be tough, to be honest. He hasn't had a good season like last season. He's been in Europa League last season, but he's really plummeted. And playing these tough teams, not a lot of games left. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he's going to make Europa League. What do you think?
I mean, with Atalanta up there, obviously Milan trying to get into Lazio as well. A lot of teams fighting for that spot. It's going to be very difficult for Sousa. I mean, in the beginning of the season, we thought he was such an incredible coach, and that, you know, replacing Montella was going to be pretty easy for Fiorentina. When Paulo Sousa came, but there has been problems, there has been struggles, whether it be with the management, whether it be with the board on the pitch performances. There's been struggles with Paulo Sousa, and they will be looking to resolve that come the future. And speaking of Fiorentina, Christian Teo, a key player for the side, has said that he wants to stay at Fiorentina, saying that if I were a manager, would I buy myself? Yes, I would. I'm ready to stay no matter who comes to the bench here in Fiorentina.
I mean, that's awesome right there. We all know he's owned by Barcelona, and by him saying he wants to stay in Fiorentina and fight for Spa, he does come off the bench a lot, but he's a great player. He has a good head between his shoulders. If he fights, keeps fighting, I think he's going to be a vital team for Viola.
I think it's amazing because he's showing that he's willing to come off the bench and that he's willing to prove himself to the coach. And, you know, it shows a lot of fight and spirit in the player, and that he actually wants to stay at the club, which is very important in a side that is trying to make Europa League.
Okay, guys, so we all know about Giuseppe Rossi, the player made out of glass. We all love him, but he just gets injured so much. He just went through a pretty extensive injury right now, but he just got off a successful surgery. He was having a surgery in Dallas, Texas. He's all good, but we just don't know how long it's gonna last till he gets back on the field. He never really regained his form after that.
I mean, it's incredibly unfortunate. As we've seen, he's been picking himself up. He went to Fiorentina, he did well, got injured there, came back, did well again, got injured again, went to Spain, got injured again, started playing well again, and now he's injured again. So there's been a lot of injuries for him, and previously in his career, you've seen that could have been one of the best Italian strikers.
You're completely right. Bad luck for him. But let's move on to some Milan news. We all know Suso, the great winger of Milan, just coming back from injury. Before the Chinese took over, they settled a nice little contract of $2.5 million. When the Chinese actually took over, he changed his mind. It looks like he wanted a nice little upgrade. He wanted to talk a little bit more, trying to get a little bit more of a contract. What do you think about that?
I mean, you can't blame him. You know, there's new owners in, there's new deals going to be made. You know, Galliani's not there anymore, so he's got new people to negotiate with. And, you know, you really can't blame him because he's an incredible player. He's been vital for Milan in their chase for Europe, and I think that he deserves the contract that he's asking for, whatever it may be. Obviously, it's not going to be something ludicrous, but I think that the Chinese investments can provide the things that Suso is looking for.
Yes, exactly. And moving on to more Milan news, what's going on with Montolivo?
I mean, I don't know. You know, Montolivo, I don't really remember him. He's a distant memory in my mind.
Remember
but,
he got injured?
He got injured, and now he's coming back from Milan. So it's great to hear that he's healthy and he's moving again. And recently he has been playing in the Primavera, and that Milan are trying to integrate him back to the first team. Whether he'll be starting for Milan, I'm not too sure. Obviously, you got players like Locatelli and Sosa, so he will have a lot of competition now that he has been out of the side. Some Milan fans aren't a big fan of him. I mean, I can't really blame them. He hasn't had the best of performances, but I guess we're gonna have to wait and see.
No, you're definitely for sure. Even you as a Milan fan, Adamo, Milan's been stacking up right now. He's Montolivo, even though he was a captain, he's got to fight back for his spot, and that's how it's gonna be. And that's all for today. I think we got most of the news for today. You guys know that we've been in the beautiful city of Genova. Adamo's first time in Italy. How do you like this place?
I mean, not too shabby. The first time outside of the continent of North America, so not too shabby if you ask me. I mean, beautiful skies, some great buildings, some Sampdoria and Genoa fans, so not too shabby.
Okay, guys, that's it for the transfer news right now. I think we pretty much got everything, so I guess you guys are gonna have to stay tuned till next time. We're gonna go get some gelato, right?
Of course.
Ciao, guys.
Ciao, ragazzi.